So I'm sure you noticed on my channel that I talk a lot about Jeep, Jeep Wrangler, Jeep Gladiator, Toyota Tacoma, and a little bit about Ford Ranger and the Ford Bronco. But you might notice that I don't really talk too much about the Nissan Frontier or the Chevy Colorado ZR2. So you probably have noticed I kind of leave those out a little bit more than I probably should. And there's actually a pretty good reason why I do this, and I do it on purpose. And I don't want to bash on the people who have a ZR2 or the Nissan Frontier, but I do just want to make sure that people are informed on this, and that is the reason why I personally don't I don't personally like the Nissan or the Chevy, Colorado ZR2, is because from the factory, when these things are, they have a couple inch lift on them, and from the factory, the CV angles on the front, instead of them being flat, they are at a pretty extreme angle. And if you want to put any more lift on it, it's going to be so hard that it's just going to wear out a lot of suspension parts. And I know a lot of people get these, like the Toyota Tacoma TRD off-road, and they put a lift kit on it. And with the Toyota Tacoma, the TRD off-road package, your CV joints, when they get them, are flat. So your axle here and your axle to your vehicle is pretty much the same exact level. So when you put a lift kit on it, it'll kick it down a little bit, but it won't kick it down much, because a 2-inch lift here is not it's not a massive angle, where the ZR2 is already at a pretty good extreme angle already. Then you put it even more, and you just start wearing parts out. And it's the same thing with the Nissan. The angles on them are already pretty extreme, and you can see it yourself. You just go to a Colorado ZR2 or a Nissan Frontier and look at the CV joint. Just take a peek under the truck and look at the CV joint to see what kind of angle it is already. And that's the factory angle at the beginning. And then go crawl under a Toyota Tacoma or a Ford Ranger, Ford Bronco, same thing. And you'll see that these CV axle angles are not at an extreme angle, which means that you can put a 2-inch lift kit or a 3-inch lift kit, and it's not going to, be buckling those CV joints. Now, why is this bad to put an extreme angle on those CV axles? For two reasons. One is these little the boots that are over the axles. When your axle's turning, it is constantly getting rubbed over and over and over. So it's got a lot of angle pressure against that boot. So it's going to prematurely wear out. And for two, when you're going off-roading, your axles are already going to be at a hard angle. And that's before you even, get your tire out of a hole or, other things. So it's already at a pretty extreme angle just driving around, off-roading. So it's harder on the drive line on those vehicles when you have a, already at extreme angle. And of course we know the Jeep Gladiator, the Wrangler, you don't have that issue because those are solid axles in the front, and the driveline axle goes up from the back. So it's not an issue on those trucks. And I always talk good about the Ford Bronco because they did it right. They put a good CV axle on from the factory. I'm sure, just like anybody, when you design a car or a truck, you look at the leading one out there and you say, Toyota Tacoma, you got a great CV axle. Let me do the same exact thing. And I'm sure that's what they did when they, redesigned the Ford Bronco. They looked at the leading sales vehicle and they took some cues off of that. Same thing with Corvette. When Corvette redesigned, they looked at Ferrari and they said, hey, this is what we want to do when we make a rear engine car, because Ferrari did it right. So, you can't blame these companies like Ford Bronco for, looking at the leading vehicle out there, leading sales anyway. And I know everybody likes their own individual brands, and it's not a problem. You can like your own. The reason why I didn't get the Gladiator is because of reliability levels, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of comments on that, but it is fact that the older third generation is a very, very reliable truck. You know, you're gonna get 300, 400,000 miles out of the Toyota Tacoma, and they drive easier on the road. It's just those factors of, true, I'm going to lose a little bit of off-road capabilities from the Tacoma compared to the Gladiator, but these, being able to drive it nice on the road and, reliability, just a little bit better reliability, these things made me get the Tacoma. And like I said, I don't want to bash on Jeep, because Jeep, they make a great vehicle, great off-road vehicle, and you can put 35-inch tires on it. It's just a outstanding off-road vehicle. And I know Tacoma's going to hate me for this, but they have a better off-road vehicle than the Toyota Tacoma. I mean, it's just fact with what the capabilities that thing does. But if you want a little more creature comforts, then the Tacoma is the way to go. So that's why I talk good about Bronco. Well-designed, very well-designed truck. And same with Tacoma. Great design, CV angles, just all around a great design. And, of course, Gladiator. That's why I don't talk about Chevy Colorado. I just figured I'd make a quick video of, why I don't. And I know I'm going to get some comments on this because, there's the Chevy world. People love them. But please, before you bash it too much, crawl underneath a ZR2, look at the CV angles, and crawl under a Toyota Tacoma and look at the same CV angle. And look at the Ford Ranger. Look at that angle. So this will tell you what kind of story I'm telling you about. Like I said, I don't want to bash these trucks because they are great off-road vehicles, but for long-term, getting tons and tons of mileage out of it, you're kind of losing a little bit because of that CV angle. So that's it for this video, and if you like what we're doing, please subscribe because you all make it happen.